Hello, this is Kieran from Crypto Bulls. Happy to have you here with me today. Hope you had a great morning so far, or afternoon or evening, depending on where you're watching this from. Today is the 9th of July, and it's really beautiful here in Switzerland. Got wonderful weather, can't complain. Looking forward to going swimming in in the rivers and so on to cool off in the afternoon. But yeah, let's get started. The market has been very interesting in the last few days. We had a very healthy growth, especially with Bitcoin and Ethereum, but also some other players and some interesting news in the market. Now, yeah, Bitcoin has recently just touched the 12,585 US dollar range. It was actually even a bit higher at 12,700 US dollars after the downfall that it had in the last few days. And yeah, Ethereum is also keeping up pretty well. So Bitcoin had around 10% in the last 24 hours, and Ethereum around 3 to 4%. Now it just corrected a little bit, but it's still a pretty good growth in the last day. Now XRP, well, XRP has not been moving a lot recently. It's like a rock, doesn't move, doesn't go down, doesn't go up. It's just in place waiting for an explosion in price growth that many people were expecting and hoping for. Now the rest of the market is more or less the same. A few coins are increasing a lot in price. Now the thing is, even though many of them are increasing in price in terms of USD valuation, very often they are still losing in valuation if you look at the corresponding price in BTC. So the value in BTC is still either staying the same or decreasing the more that Bitcoin is rising. So looking at the global crypto market, we've got a nice higher high. If we look at the previous, so that might mean a bit of a trend reversal. We've had here some lower highs, and the recent low was at 292 billion US dollars, and we've had now a nice push up. And yeah, after last week, we've had some nice higher lows and higher highs, and we broke above the very strong resistance of 346 billion US dollars, which is pretty good. And the fact that we've got these high lows and higher highs indicates that there's a high probability that will be retesting the very strong resistance of 382 billion US dollars. And there, it's very important to see if we manage to break past that resistance, because that would indicate a continuation of the upwards trend, which everyone is looking forward to, because that means a lot of positive price growth. Now, here we've got a good chart from Vidovik, and here it shows the head and shoulder pattern that we had, and this trend line is the one that I wanted to show you before. This is basically these lower highs and a lower low pattern, and this trend line, which goes all the way down, was broken on the 8th of July 2019, and this shows a positive outbreak of this trend line, which indicates that the price is going to go higher. Now the price corrected a bit to the 12,400 support line, so that's a very strong indication that we will likely retouch the 13,800 US dollar range. Now the question is, will we have then a double top, or will we manage to push past? And I think there it's important to look at how much volume is in the market to see if we're going to manage to push past higher than these levels. So in my opinion, do not make any drastic decision, especially if you're not a day trader, as just maybe hold on to wait and see how this plays out. And if should it break past this resistance, then I would even consider continuing your accumulation, because it's possible that it goes even higher. Now how high, it's very difficult to predict. But here he's got there are some quite good responses to this idea, and here is one response where he shows this double top that I mentioned that is likely to happen. So BTC confronts a double top pullback. However, his opinion is that as soon as this double top is reached at 30,700 US dollars, that there's going to be a massive drop. But it's very difficult to predict these things in the future. However, uh, yeah, it's probably probably going to touch these ranges, and then I guess then we'll have to see if the consolidation range is going to be not too low. Then there's a high possibility that it pushes past this new formed resistance. Now, if you heard in recent news, the Deutsche Bank had a bit of a negative news concerning the 18,000 positions that were cancelled. So Monday witnessed a 4 pound part of the Deutsche Bank. It is laying off 20% of the workforce, and Bitcoin prices are being surging. Now, the question is this actually really a coincidence? Is there a correlation between the both? In my opinion, there's no real correlation between that. It's just, more or less a coincidence, in my opinion. So after the financial crisis of 2008, Deutsche Bank is going through the biggest financial restructuring. It began with laying off almost 20% of its workforce on Monday. This mass firing will eventually displace almost 18,000 just employees. It has defunct on its equity and trading divisions. It is also planning cutbacks to its fixed income rates and other trading business. Bad bank provision, like during the last crisis, Deutsche Bank also confirmed that it would move approximately nearly 90 billion US dollars of derivatives into bad banking. This move would likely stabilize the balance sheet with mushrooming asset failures. The bank has about 49 trillion in derivatives, which is nearly 10 times the total of the German GDP. Failure of the bank could have a ripple effect on the whole banking system in Germany and entire Europe, as Germany is the largest Eurozone economy. Now, I think to see if there's a correlation here, you would have to see how many new customers or new funds are flowing into the cryptocurrency market from Germany or maybe other countries in response to this news. But I think it's very difficult to see if there is actually a correlation between these two or currencies happening, the increase in price for Bitcoin and this 20% layoff for the Deutsche Bank. But still, Deutsche Bank news is not very positive news, and let's see how that affects the German economy, and if there's going to be there's going to be a lasting negative effect, a ripple effect that will maybe plunge other companies also into such a restructuring strategy to improve their balance sheets. But yeah, we'll have to find out maybe in the next few months. Now, Bitcoin's parabolic move, could that be boosted by central bank money printing? Now, BitMEX CEO claims that when the cat is away, the mice come out to play, as the global economy is muddled with concerns surrounding trade wars, interest rate movements, and global governance dilemmas. The cryptocurrency world is enjoying a parabolic move. Over the past few months, traditional finance has slumped, while Bitcoin has surged by 200%, with many analysts pointing to various internal reasons as a source or even a catalyst for this drive in price. The answer may instead lie externally. Fresh from this Tango in Taipei, Arthur Hayes, CEO of BitMEX, a future-centric cryptocurrency exchange, looked to the banking elite and their macroeconomic functions as providing a boost to the cryptocurrency industry. In a recent interview with Ran Neuer of CNBC Crypto Trader, Hayes mulled the prospect of a Bitcoin breakout over its December 2017 all-time high, while pointing to the monetary policies of the globe's largest economies as being the main driver. He says, one of the major trends I see driving this Bitcoin parabolic move is central bank money printing. And that's one thing that people really appreciate about the cryptocurrency space, different cryptocurrencies. It's not possible to just print 100,000 or 1 million more Bitcoins and put them into the market. So I think his statement is quite close to the truth, and what is going to happen. I mean, the central banks, they try and control the inflation of a fiat currency by printing more money. However, the problem is mostly when this money goes into the international market. For example, if we take the US dollar, when the central bank, the Federal Reserve, prints a lot of money and sends it out internationally, then this money gets used maybe in different countries, international, and like the United States is not directly affected by this printing of money. However, at some point, this money is going to come back to the United States. All these printed US dollars come back to the United States, and that's when there's going to be a massive problem, because the more US dollars come back from outside countries, the higher fiat amounts there are, and the less value the US dollar will have, because there's going to be so much of it. And yeah, in my opinion, people want to hedge in a way against inflation, and when they realize that inflation is just increasing every year and their assets, which are in fiat, are losing value every day, every every year, then they're going to look for other alternatives. So the more that banks start printing money, the more people in a country will start feeling it, due to increased prices, due to lower purchasing power, and because of a higher inflation. So intersection, three key inklings of this central bank driven Bitcoin price rally will likely come from the United States, the European Central Bank, and the People's Bank of China. According to Reuters, the Federal Reserve could announce a cut in interest rates in late July in reaction to the US-China trade war. The current interest rate of 2.25% was set in December 2018, with the Fed stating that 2019 could see an increase by 25 base points. Hayes also veered towards the PBOC's reserve requirement ratio in order to bolster the economy in the face of aforementioned East-West trade war. Many Chinese analysts have suggested that the speedy RRR cut is a sign of the determination of sovereign administrators to push growth. Hayes also spoke to the ECB's long-term refinancing operations, LTROs, which, according to Reuters, could come later in the year. This ECB operation will assist companies within Eurozone by providing cheap and easy credit options. The last round of targeted LTROs in 2016 lifted inflation by 0.3% in a 2-year period. So, yeah, so basically this states all these strategies will lift the inflation, which is not a very good sign. However, this loss of funds within the largest economies of the world will not find a direct path to the decentralized currency world. Hayes added that the first pit stop will be loss-making startups in the big next year. This money is not going to make its way into the crypto ecosystem directly until it finances more money-losing startups like Uber and Lyft and all these massive public companies. Once people get done with those, then we'll move down to their crypto ecosystem. So yeah, it is true at the moment. I believe many investors still believe that the cryptocurrency space might not be, first of all, they might not understand it completely. They don't see the benefits of buying and holding cryptocurrencies. They might associate with the negative press that it gets, money laundering, criminal activities, and so on. So I think it would take still a bit of time for people to understand it, and as soon as they understand the potential, it's going to be like a snowball effect which will push the growth probably into parabolically, because it's going to have like something like a run on the space, and since everything is limited, that will push the price a lot higher. So probably around the 2021 range we can expect this type of growth. So on the present, with a macroeconomic open market operations in full flow, Hayes predicted that Q1 of 2020 will be the beginning of the upward cycle. It should be noted that the highly anticipated Bitcoin halving is scheduled for May 2020, and historically as a halving year, the price surges. On the present, Hayes was a bit more cautious. He stated that the market would face some chop between 10,000 20,000 US dollar range, and would not blow past the ceiling as others have predicted. So yeah, I mean, in the end, it's very difficult to have predictions, like very specific predictions, but in my opinion, yeah, in the next 2 years, more people will be flowing towards the cryptocurrency markets to escape inflation and to have much more control over their assets. Not only control, but having a liquid asset which is limited and yeah, cannot be controlled. People will be running towards that as soon as they realize all the bad monetary policy that is happening in different countries, Europe, USA, China, and so on. Now, talking about China, China's national digital currency threatened by Facebook's Libra coin, POBC official. When the US seizes, the rest of all catches a cold, and this time around the cold has caught up with China. The technology powerhouse is shivering over the threat that Facebook's Libra could pose on her national cryptocurrency. Let's see if that's actually like that. I'm not too sure about it. First of all, Facebook in China, Facebook is banned, and people don't use WhatsApp. I think WhatsApp is also banned. I'm not sure. I think WhatsApp is not banned, but mostly citizens in China, they use WeChat. So I'm not too sure if it's that much of a threat, since the citizens probably won't be that influenced by Facebook's Libra coin. Since first of all, they don't really have access to Facebook, they don't have Facebook accounts, they don't have WhatsApp accounts. Maybe a very, very, very small percentage have WhatsApp, but in my opinion, I don't think it's that bad. But let's see what the article tells us. With Facebook's Libra virtual coin potentially posing a nightmare to fiat money on a different front, the Central Bank of China could fasten creation of its own virtual currency, says an official from People's Bank of China. The leader of the research bureau of PBOC, Wang Xing, indicated that if Libra becomes largely accepted for global transactions and effectively acts like real cash, would it accordingly have a large influence on monetary policy, financial stability, and the international money system? As a question that we need to have answered. A high attention observation. The South China Morning Post reported that this threat indicates that the PBOC is observing at the issue with high attention and could intensify the creation of its own virtual coin, which has been in progress over the years. Facebook launches its Libra project mid last month to be organized as a stable coin pegged to different fiat currencies. Wang revealed that her mother country, China, needed to understand exactly which currencies stablecoins would be backed by and if United States dollar would add some impact, according to the report. If Libra digital currency is closely linked with the US dollar, it could entail that the country's fiat currencies would function alongside. Speaking at the ceremony of Peking University's Institute of Digital Finance, termed this close link as US dollar-centric digital currencies. Furthermore, Wang went ahead to courageously warn the world and especially social media savvy firm that China wouldn't tolerate that technological bubble, indicating, but there would be in essence one boss that is in the US dollar and the United States. If so, it would bring a series of economic, financial, and even international political consequences. But it wouldn't be the first time that Western technologies try to enter the Chinese market and have failed. And in my opinion, Facebook's Libra coin doesn't have that much chance in the Chinese market for numerous reasons. In my opinion, the point of view that the Chinese citizens have of the outer world is, first of all, they don't have that much information about what's happening outside of China because of the high regulation of news that they get. Most of the news, like YouTube, they don't use YouTube, they don't use Facebook, they don't use Google, they don't use WhatsApp, and so on, that we're pretty familiar with. So Europeans, they see what's happening in more or less the rest of the world, and Chinese have some information about the rest of the world, but it's highly censored, highly filtered, and so on. So first of all, there's that point that they might not even hear about this coin. Second of all, they're using different applications. So they're using WeChat, they're using Baidu as a Google replacement, they're using Youku as a YouTube replacement. So more or less, the influence that they're getting is mostly China or Asia, and not United States, and not Europe, and so on. And thirdly, because of these apps, if the Chinese government wants to push digital RMB, then what they would just have to do is they would have to make some partnerships with big tech, fintech businesses such as Alipay, and they can push their digital currency over those applications. And since these applications already are serving millions, or if not billions, of Chinese customers, then they've already got a marketplace where they can push their digital currency. And in my opinion, due to these factors, it's going to be very difficult for Facebook to actually push their Libra coin in China, or even actually many other Asian countries which are similar to China, also using these apps such as WeChat and so on. Because I don't think Libra is going to be available on WeChat, but yeah, let's find out if they manage to do that, and if they manage to get Libra on WeChat, it's already a good step, but it's going to be difficult, and I'm not sure if they're going to do that, because they can't actually benefit from the financial data that we'll be gaining through WeChat. I'm not sure how they would do that, but on Instagram they've got already some tags that they want to use to find out how you'll be using Libra. So they've already got some type of advertisement scheme in place to gather your financial data when you're using Libra, so that they can sell it to advertisers and companies. So that was it for today. Hope you enjoyed this this news video, and I'll catch you on the next one. If you've got any comments whatsoever, don't hesitate to ask them in the comments below. Even if it's unrelated to this video, I'll gladly try my best and answer them. So without any more, I wish you a great day, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.